Do you know what today is? It's White History Wednesday. Hey, how you doing? It's your girl myalamis, and for those of you who are new here, this is White History Wednesday. And this day was specifically made for the people who said, "Why do Black people need a whole month to tell their story?" And for that, I give you 52 days. You ready to hear it? Here you go. So, in the 19th century in Louisiana, Black women in state prisons were often locked in cells with men. Because why would y'all ever think that's okay? Anywho, all right. Many became pregnant behind bars under brutal and dehumanizing conditions. Now, I can speak on that. I've never been to prison, but jail is definitely very dehumanizing. So I can just imagine what the times were like back then. But in 1848, a law was passed declaring that all kids born to incarcerated Black women were state property. They were forced to stay in prison with their moms until they turned 10, and then they were auctioned off. White History Wednesday, because why would you ever think that leaving a child, granted, leaving a child with their mother is always the best option if you can, but a child being in those inhumane spaces like prison, why would you ever think that's okay? I really like, and I just feel like later on down the line, they found a reason to lock those same kids up since they was, I guess, used to being in jail anyway. Why would you think that was okay to make it a law that kids would have to stay in prison with their mom until they're 10 years old? 10. You know what type of mental, they don't care. White History Wednesday. Did you know that Memorial Day was started by Black people? Yep. Union soldiers were just buried every which way. They was just out there, spread out. And there was some newly freed slaves, well, newly freed enslaved people that dug them up and reorganized them in order to honor them. My thing is, they try to make Black people seem like they are monsters, but some of the things that is celebrated the most in America, like America's quote unquote freedom, is all due to Black people. Our ancestors fought so hard for everything that we have today, yet we are still the monsters. Okay, White History Wednesday. Let's keep it going. Did y'all know that prom excluded Black people originally? And it really wasn't for high schoolers. So prom was originally for college students, like a coming out party for middle class Caucasian people who couldn't afford a debutante. Because you know they use the debutante in bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs. I'm sorry, let me know if I say it wrong. But they use that as they coming out party, something like, we use Sweet 16 and Hispanic people use quinceañeras and stuff like that. So this was their coming out party to introduce their young women to a polite society and eligible men, which excluded, because if you heard the verbiage, polite society and eligible men, that excluded Black people. There was no polite society or eligible Black men that they would want to mix and mingle people with. So prom was not made for us. But what I can say in 2025, baby, we took it. We put some seasoning on that thing, and y'all be cooking on these prom looks. I'm just saying, y'all really be eating down on these prom looks. Make me regret not going. I should have went to prom. I'm not gonna go down memory lane, but White History Wednesday. Now I want to talk about 21-year-old Sammy Young Jr. He was a Tuskegee Institute student. He also was a voting rights activist and a U.S. Navy veteran who was fatally shot at a gas station. But guess what? Why? Guess why? I want y'all to drop it in the comments. I'm gonna give y'all a quick second to guess why this man was fatally shot. Ready? Because he did not want to use a segregated bathroom, because this was after the civil rights movement. So there was not supposed to be a whites only and blacks only bathroom. So he refused to be segregated, and the man shot him. Yep. And the man stood trial, and they deemed it an accident. Does that sound familiar? White History Wednesday, okay? I'm telling you, y'all, I can't make this stuff up. It is nothing new about this. So as y'all know, I am writing a White History Wednesday book, as well as I do have some White History Wednesday merch. I have a few shirts, which I will put a little picture so y'all can see the shirts if y'all interested. The link is in my bio and my link tree under merch. As far as the book, I try not to go back all the time about what I've already covered because it's going to be in the book. But specifically, somebody wanted me to talk about the Gullah Wars, right? So the term Gullah Wars, I can't talk this morning, y'all. Lord have mercy. So the term Gullah Wars refers to a series of battles primarily in the 18th and 19th century where enslaved people, particularly Gullah and Geechee individuals, fought for their freedom. Y'all heard that? Fought for their freedom. For the people who like to come in my comments and say, "Oh, we freed y'all. That was enough." You didn't free shit. They fought for their freedom. Anywho, let's proceed. Um, Often in partnership with the Yamasee Nation and other indigenous groups. These wars highlight the resilience and resistance of enslaved people in the face of oppression, and they are often associated with events like the Stone Rebellion. Okay, so there was the Yamasee War in 1715. The war documented the historical novel The Unconquered, involved the Yamasee people and the Gullah Geechee captives fighting against their enslavers. So pretty much what it was that some Native Americans and some enslaved people, they was tired. They were very, very tired, and they came together and they worked together and they fought and they won. And they still to this day, they just had it last weekend. I was going to try to go, but I had a lot to do and a lot going on. But they had just had a Gullah Geechee festival. They have one every year in Beaufort, South Carolina. That's over in the Charleston, South Carolina area. But they have a festival to celebrate this moment every year because this was a pivotal moment in history, a very pivotal moment in history. The Gullah Wars were characterized by enslaved individuals fleeing their oppressors, seeking the safety in remote areas like Florida, and establishing independent settlements. The Gullahs often allied with indigenous groups, like I told you, like the Seminoles, and that actually created the Black Seminoles. If you never heard of the Black Seminoles, drop it in the comments, and I'll try to cover it next week. But the Gullah Geechee Wars is definitely something that y'all need to know about and look into because it was a pivotal moment. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was I wanted to go in depth a little bit about Henrietta Lacks. Okay, have you ever heard of I'm probably gonna butcher it because y'all know I be saying stuff wrong. The Hella cell. The Hella cell is the first immortalized cell, first immortalized human cell, and one of the most important cells in medical research. An immortal. I can't talk today. An immortalized cell line reproduces indefinitely under specific conditions, and the HeLa cell line continues to be a source of invaluable medical data to the present day. Now, Henrietta Lacks went to Johns Hopkins Hospital to get treatment for her cervical cancer in 1951, and pretty much they stole this lady's cells and been using them ever since. Somebody do the math. 1951. How long ago was that? Because I'm normally doing the math, but I need y'all help today. Do the math because none of this stuff was very long ago. The experiments that they do on us, still to this day, that lady. Somebody told me I need to talk about something more recent. Let's talk about it. So the same way they used to experiment on us at the Willowbrook State School and the father of gynecology and all that stuff, how they experimented on us because they feel like they allege that Black people don't feel pain. I personally feel like they're doing the same thing to that lady in Atlanta right now that is unalive. She's not there, but they're using her body as an incubator, as an experiment to see if they can do that in the future. It's definitely an experiment because why would you ever in your right mind want to force a lady to stay alive by machines to keep a child alive, which you don't even know if this child is, number one, going to survive, but also is this child going to come out with some type of illness or anything like that because their mother is really not there to naturally produce the things that you need to survive. Anywho, also, Trump pardoned the Chrisleys. I don't know if y'all know about the Chrisleys. The Chrisleys is this Caucasian couple who went to jail for fraud. And as of last night, their daughter posted a video about them being pardoned. Now, the reason why this equates to White History Wednesday is because right now in America, the climate of America, if you check a lot of my comments about my post that has something to do with race, you see a lot of people come in the comments and they say, oh, Black people, they commit the most crime. Hispanic peoples are gangsters and thugs. The Black and Hispanic community, blah, 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 blah. However, Trump is pardoning all the criminals and pointing the finger at us. He is legit pardoning all of the criminals. Not to mention, there is talks of him pardoning the officer that took the life of George Floyd. White History Wednesday, Black lives never mattered in America. Sorry to say it. Y'all have a great day.